Welcome to Studio RC. My name is Max, and I am an alcoholic. I want to welcome you today. We're beginning a brand new series. Start looking at the 12 traditions of AA. Now, at Recovery Church, we have our values. We have our 12 values. But one of the things we do is we definitely believe in the 12 steps, and the 12 traditions we use as a guide. Whereas in the AA fellowship specifically, that's kind of what guides their meetings and the business end, and the thought, or the one of the joke is the steps keep us from committing suicide, and the traditions keep us from committing homicide. Now, I don't know if that might be taking it too far, but there are a lot of great principles in the 12 traditions. So we're going to take a look each week at a different tradition. And this will be the same intro each time. And because there are 12 traditions, it comes out of the 12 and 12 book, what we're going to do is we're going to take 12 minutes for each tradition and see how much we cover and what we can figure out about that. Now, one of the things I know, sometimes traditions, they're not the sexiest thing going. Sometimes when people find, if you go to a meeting and it's a tradition meeting, you're like, oh, it's a tradition meeting. I think that sometimes the more you get into them and the more you understand them, there are so many transferable principles, not only for the group, but for the individual as well. And so we're going to take a look at that and just see how that guides us, and also how that impacts us at Recovery Church, and how those traditions, how they kind of live themselves out in our context. But so we'll take this opportunity. We're going to look at each one, a different one each week. And so let's jump in right now. Thanks so much, and come on this journey as we take a look at AA's 12 traditions. Let's jump right into Tradition 5. Tradition 5 states, each group has but one primary purpose: to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. Each group has but one primary purpose: to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. So let's put 12 minutes on the clock and see how we do. It's better to do one thing supremely well than many things badly or poorly. Alcoholics Anonymous has demonstrated that they can help problem drinkers as seldom as others can. And the rooms of recovery, we have this unique ability to identify ourselves with and bring recovery to the newcomer, help them see the benefits or the possibilities of getting sober, of getting clean. And none of it depends on a certain education level, a certain eloquence and speech, or any special individual skills. The only thing that matters is that we are an addict or an alcoholic who has found a way to get sober or clean. And these are, we have this legacy of suffering as well as a legacy of recovery, and it's easily passed on to other addicts or alcoholics, one to the other. This is our gift from God, that we have the ability. And honestly, the great paradox of recovery is that we know we can seldom keep the precious gift of sobriety unless we give it away. And I think in God's economy and in faith, when we receive blessings in order to give them away as well. And so I think that there's this, we experience a certain richness when we stick to our primary purpose and give it away. So they give an example where there's someone in Towns Hospital, which is where Bill W. ended up eventually getting sober. Dr. Silkworth, the doctor's opinion, all that comes from out of Towns Hospital. And there was a person who was very sick, kind of tough and challenging. And so somebody said, one of the AA members, is there anyone I could talk to? And the doctor pointed him in this way to this person and said, good luck, see what you can do. But working with him may not help him, Dr. Silkworth said, but it may help you. So why don't you have a go at it, see what happens. So the gentleman told his story. He explained what a wonderful fellowship that we had in recovery, how well we understood one another, and he really bore down on the hopelessness of a drunk's dilemma and the delusion. He had smashed the delusion, went through all those things, and so the response came from the gentleman who was listening. Well, how much does this scheme cost? And the gentleman said, nothing at all. Well, what are you getting out of it? And he said, my own sobriety and a mighty happy life. I get to live life when I share the message with others, when I share my experience, strength, and hope. I get something out of it. And the person was, do you really mean that the only reason you're here is to try and help me and to help yourself? Yeah, that's it. There's no angle. And I think that approach really is someone in recovery, or not in recovery yet, but have that desire to stop, has a way of disarming people, because there's some skepticism. Well, what are you up to? What's the angle? What do you get out of this? And the truth is, much like we've learned again and again, humility is one of the main keys to sobriety, and being able to share your story, what happened, what it was like, what it's like now, to somebody can really give them the picture of what recovery is, as well as connect with them. Because if they're able to see, hey, this person got sober, maybe I can get clean too. And that's a key, and having that primary purpose. It was funny because after all was said and done, this person who was a challenge ended up getting sober, and he said, my sponsor sold me one idea, and that was sobriety. At the time, I probably couldn't have bought anything else, and so he had a very sort of humble approach to that. But that primary purpose, what it means is we're all bound together by one common responsibility to carry the message to the suffering alcoholic. When there's someone that says, help, help, we want to come and be there to try to assist in whatever way we can. Now that leads us to the responsibility statement. I love this. I don't know if you've ever heard this. Some business meetings read this, some groups read this, but the responsibility of AA says, I am responsible. When anyone, anywhere reaches out for help, I want the hand of AA always to be there. And for that, I am responsible. I love that. I'm responsible. It starts out with I'm responsible. And then so when anyone at all, anywhere, no matter where they are, they reaches out for help in regards to our primary purpose, I want the hand of AA always to be there. And for that thing, I am responsible. Our primary purpose, we cannot be all things to all people. In regards to AA, they focus on alcohol, not on other drugs, not on other addictions. They focus on alcohol. They often will have the caveat, please confine your discussion to your alcoholism. Now, if you have other things, it doesn't, we talked in the previous tradition about there's no requirements for membership. So if you have other things that you struggle with, it doesn't mean you can't be in the room of recovery. It's just we're focusing on this. Recovery Church is the same way. We focus on drugs and alcohol. So we've broadened it a little bit from AA and NA. We do both. But part of Recovery Church is we are tired of people dying. from ODs, from drunk driving. We're just tired of people dying because of drugs and alcohol. We know statistically under the age of 50, you have a greater chance of ODing than dying in a car crash. That's staggering. So that makes it very clear why we do what we do and how we do what we do. Um, it's that's our focus. And early when I was launching a campus pre-pandemic, our team had worked really hard. And we had some people come join us a little bit on our soft launch, and they really wanted, well, why can't we do other addictions? Why can't we do sex addiction? Why can't we do people who are struggling with their finances or spending and things like? And they wanted it to be a catch-all. And our primary purpose for Recovery Church, as well as AA, and has always been the addict and the alcoholic. And it's not to say those things don't, those other addictions or challenges don't cause problems. They do. They cause unmanageability. The one thing about some of those other addictions is that they don't cause sudden death. Now, that's not to say that at some point people can't die from other addictions, but in regards to drugs and alcohol, the need is so great. We want to focus on that because we never want the person who comes in to feel alienated and say, I can't get help here because all you're talking about is, finances or sex addiction or food addictions. And again, all those are legitimate, but our primary focus is on drug addicts and alcoholics. And even our tagline, 12 steps, one goal. Recovery Church, it's 12 steps, one goal. The one goal is that spiritual awakening as described in the 12 step. It tells us in the big book, we were reborn. It says in the scripture, we were born again. And so that's the one goal, to give people the opportunity to experience that rebirth, that spiritual awakening, that being born again. And so that's our responsibility and our focus, and sticking to our primary focus. And every newcomer learns that the business of staying sober must be top priority. If it's not a top priority, it's very difficult to get and stay sober. If we fail at our recovery, it's hard to succeed at anything else. The fifth tradition tells us that groups should remember that's their primary purpose. And unthinking enthusiasm can get us off the main track. Good intentioned people can say, but what about, well, why can't we include, and all those are like, don't you care about these other people, and shouldn't you help these other people? We have found we do one thing well, and that's connect with addicts and alcoholics. And will other people benefit from what we do? Probably, but that's not going to change our focus. It's through the personal experience of our members that we're qualified to carry the one message of how an alcoholic or addict can recover in AA, NA, and recovery. And that's it. That's our message. An example of kind of getting off the primary course is one group wanted to set up sort of an information agency. And we found that agencies have sprung up to take on educating the general public on alcoholism. That's not the sole focus or even any particular focus of AA. That's not AA's purpose. But these agencies are trying to help the active alcoholic. They're our friends. They're people we walk alongside of. Tradition 6 marks the boundaries of that relationship. We'll talk about that. But our primary purpose is to carry the message. You can get and stay sober. You do not ever have to get drunk or high ever again. Hopefully that is good news for you. And as we get to our 12-minute mark, and we remind you that each and every group has one primary purpose, and that's to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. That main goal of each group is to help those who are still struggling, those who are still in the midst, as the book says, in their cups, in their alcoholism, in their addiction. We could look at Matthew 28:19. Go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. That kind of summarizes what that carrying the message. And this tradition is echoed in the 12th step about having had a spiritual awakening as the result in AA and a result in NA, but it's still the significant result. We tried to carry this message. Carry the message to to suffering alcoholics, to suffering addicts. Our mission is to reach out and help others, sharing hope and the recovery that we found that you can have. We give it away freely, and we know that as we give it away freely, we get to keep it as well. So that's my stab at the fifth tradition. I encourage you, comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think. If you have an insight or a thought, we'd love to hear it to kind of keep the discussion going. And so, again, we ask, like this, share this, follow, subscribe, do all those things so that Studio RC can continue to increase its footprint and so that we can help others carry that primary purpose, carry the 12 steps, that one goal as far out as we possibly can. So thank you for coming to Studio RC this episode, and we're so glad you're here. We'll see you next time. And remember, Recovery Church, 12 steps, one goal. God bless, and we will see you next time.